everybody, and welcome to Kweitai, the weekly show where we talk to African entrepreneurs from around the world and ask them the simple question, what is it that you're doing? Kweitai is here to educate, inspire, and entertain you by bringing you thought leaders from the African continent who are doing wonderful things around the world. Today, we've got the beautiful Urissa with us, who is changing the way people look at conservation using teeth whitening. She's going to talk to us about her passion for wildlife, her passion for conservation, and her passion for making sure that we have beautiful, gorgeous smiles, but we do it the natural way and preserve our environment in the process. So, Urissa, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's lovely being here.
Urissa, could you start just by telling us a bit about yourself?
So I was born in South Africa, Durban, and my family and I moved to the Gold Coast in Australia when I was 5 years old. So I'm now 25. I've been raised on the Gold Coast, went to school, went to uni here in Australia, and I actually studied to be a teacher. I taught for around 3 years and then decided I wanted to broaden my horizon and educate the public in a more beneficial way that could impact many more citizens. So I decided to set out and venture into opening my own company. And the reason Love Smiles has been founded was because I couldn't find a natural teeth whitening kit that I could use personally because I have really sensitive gums and because of my health issues. So I actually went off and partnered with some research and developers here in Australia to research what we could use to promote and get whiter teeth. And in the process, I also wanted to link it to an environmental conservative pretty much way. So ended up finding what my real passion was, which was conserving the native land and making sure that we help the environment by reducing our amount of plastic. And that all started with a simple way we chose to package our teeth whitening kit and made sure that it was definitely helping Mother Earth, but also giving the best quality to our consumers.
That's brilliant. That's an amazing story. Now, you're awfully young. So how does a young woman come up with such an amazingly big vision?
Well, I am young, but I have an amazing team behind myself. It's not just myself. I was just the idea, and obviously partnering up with all the right people made it happen. So made my dream become a reality. And it was all about definitely finding the right people to talk to, but also finding ways to obviously fund your venture. So being young, I did save up. I didn't spend my money on, what normal 25-year-olds do. I just saved up and obviously had a lot of help from family. But now we're at the point where we have launched our product and the market is really loving it. We are looking at opening our channels here in Australia, but also in our international partners overseas.
Okay. Do you want to give us a bit of insight into what you did before you launched your business? So you mentioned you saved up, so I'm assuming you were working. Can you tell us a bit about what your life was like before you went into business?
So before I went into business, my life was pretty much a 9 till 5 job. I worked as a teacher, prep to year 12. I taught various classes and various subjects, but the one subject I was really passionate about was teaching environmental studies, and that's where it really ignited my passion for what I'm doing today. Being young, I was trying to find what I wanted to really do and what my purpose was, and based on the obstacles I faced, I'm here today and launched something that's pretty awesome.
So your teaching background, was that something you aspired to as a little girl, or was that something you just stumbled into?
My teaching background actually came from a background of teachers. So my mum and dad are both teachers. I thought that was something that I really wanted to do, and it was awesome to get me started and into the workplace. And then I just decided, after teaching, I really wanted to broaden my horizon and help the community and actually be the change. And that's where I've just sort of went the other way towards the corporate life.
Excellent. So, what have you learned about? I know you're just at the beginning stages of your journey and you've got so much to go ahead, but obviously there's been a lot that you have learned about yourself as a person. What would you say have been some of the things that have surprised you about yourself as you've embarked on this journey into business?
Oh, what has surprised me? Well, my work ethic has definitely changed. Working for yourself, you pretty much work at all odd hours of the night and day. So when you work for yourself and you're an entrepreneur, you basically spend more than 60 to 100 hours working because you don't want to work for anyone else. So that's pretty much what has changed, but also the way I do think. You're always thinking how you can make your business better, how you can change things, how you can adapt. You've got to be really balanced with your work and personal life as well. So making sure that you still have time for your loved ones. But what has also definitely changed has been how much people have not noticed what's going on in the environment. So being open to more out there and what has not been discussed, and that's what we want to bring to light to the general public and to international clients, is the way that we would like to conserve and help reduce our plastic footprint, and that's by literally developing a product and service that does that.
Yeah. So you're from Africa, like myself. Tell us a bit about how much when did you come here? Sorry, from Durban. When did you move here?
We arrived here in 1998. So when I was 5 years old. So I did have a South African accent, and obviously growing up on the Gold Coast, I've now adapted an Aussie accent.
From 5, that would. So do you remember, have you been back to Durban since being here?
Yes, we have been back. We have all our family overseas, and it's a much beloved, dear country that we absolutely love. And that's where we're hoping to obviously branch out, and I want to give back to South Africa as much as possible. It's where our roots are from, it's where we've been grown up. And obviously raised until we were 5 and came over here. So moving from another country to Australia is definitely a life changer. And yeah, we can't wait to give back to the community back home.
Excellent. So what are some of the, I mean, I'm from Zimbabwe, as you know, and Africa is very different from Australia. Can you give sort of some insights from a conservation point of view and the things that you're passionate about? Some of the similarities and differences beyond the conservation efforts of South Africa and the conservation efforts of here in Australia?
So the conservation here in Australia is basically the fact that we are really trying to preserve as much wildlife and native land as possible. And that basically works around and revolves around our native wildlife. So we're really trying to crack down on preserving our native wildlife here in Australia, along with, conserving as much water as possible because it doesn't rain as much here. In South Africa, I know it's a big thing where everyone's trying to preserve and help the endangered species back home in the safari. I just realized that obviously the last rhino is no longer. So I guess in both South Africa and Australia, we all are trying to preserve our native wildlife and to actually be more sustainable in ways that we can change and obviously help the environment. But one thing that definitely does stand out is the culture here in Australia compared to back home. That's definitely so different in many vast ways.
Yeah, no. And I think one of the things that's been interesting about your product and looking on your website is the way you're going about getting consumers to have that conversation around wildlife, to have that conversation around, what is your responsibility as a consumer? Because let's face it, we all brush our teeth every day.
Oh, yes.
We're all that brighter smile. So this is something that affects us all. And I don't think people really appreciate, the volume of dental waste. Could you tell us a bit about, what is actually the impact of our dental footprint?
So based on our research here in Australia alone, more than 30 million plastic toothbrushes and dental waste products are being disposed of by Australians, which is equating to thousands and thousands of tons of plastic landfill. And that's not going to break down in our life or our children's lives. So that is something that really hit home, that we're trying to hit, and we're trying to literally reduce our plastic footprint. That is our aim, and that's the reason why we have been founded, and we're doing what we are set out to do, is to obviously bring awareness and to make people more educated about sustainability and about how they can literally make one small change that can start an ongoing ripple effect. And sometimes, you know, in life we make big changes, and sometimes it's as small as changing your toothbrush and your teeth whitening kit. And that's what we're trying to achieve, and obviously let everyone know globally that we're here, and we've just launched, and we are literally one of the world's first teeth whitening kits that are all about giving back to the environment and to Mother Nature. And that's where we've partnered up with organizations who basically are on the same value and wavelength as us. And so with every kit purchased, we basically plant gum trees, we help endangered and injured wildlife, and we're also preserving native land here in Australia, and that's just the start.
That sounds really, really amazing. Now, you talked about when you're in business, balancing your work life. Aside from business, what do you do for fun? What do you do? What do you enjoy to do?
What I love to do, I love to go to the gym, and I love to live a healthy and active lifestyle in my spare time. So that basically involves getting up in the morning, going to the gym, going for a beach walk, taking my dogs for a nice walk and run, listening to music, catching up with friends, and just spending quality time with family.
Yeah. And how have you found balancing your work life? You're married, you've got your parents, you've got all of this responsibility. How are you finding balancing, you know, the different balls that you have to juggle in the air, as well as looking after yourself?
Well, it's all just about making time for yourself and planning ways in which you can still spend time with your loved ones, and make sure that you still are available for your business. And it's all about just being able to be balanced is the key.
Yeah. What would you say to another young woman who's in a similar position to you, who's maybe got a big idea, not sure how to make that big idea come to life? What would you say are some of the key things that got you started on your journey? What would you say to somebody who's starting on their own journey about their own business, that they're passionate about, who has very limited business experience, is very young? How would you advise them to go about getting started?
I would advise them to start off with just writing all of your ideas on paper. So get a business template, fill it all out, do your SWOT analysis, and actually give it time, because you're always changing, you're always adapting. And if something doesn't work out, it just means you've got to keep persisting. Don't give up. So if someone says no, it just means next opportunity. Make sure that you get back on the boat, be resilient, and just focus and know you're absolutely fine. Because in any starting phase, it's always going to be a rough patch before you actually get to the smooth ride. So just make sure that you be persistent and just stick it through, regardless of what's happening. If you truly believe that you want to get there and you want to achieve something, it's all about your mindset.
No, I totally agree. So speaking on mindset, what books are you reading that you might recommend to some of our viewers about, changing your mindset?
Oh, there's this really good book. It's called The Decision Book. I'm not sure the writer, I've got to double check, but it really helps. It has a lot of SWOT analysis and a lot of tables on how to make decisions. Because, I'm one of those people, I go to the ice cream store and I don't know what flavor to pick. So this book's really helpful. So that book has definitely been a guideline to what I use. And then also, it's not really about reading too much. I really listen to my team. And I take on a lot of information from them, because at the end of the day, I'm just one person. I don't have all the professional experience, and I really take on board the feedback and opinions and perspectives that my team members have in my workplace. And so obviously that helps to grow, and it's all about making sure that you're approachable and that you can listen attentively, obviously take on board what others have to offer.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I mean, in business, I think one of the key things you need to do as a leader is listen more and talk less, because then your team can really give you those ideas that get you to fly. You know, one of the things that a lot of the women viewers who have been on here before, particularly African women, have talked about, you know, some of the challenges that they face, particularly being in a foreign country, trying to, as a migrant, you're not exactly a migrant, having come here at 5 years old. So maybe this question may not pertain to you so much, but I'll ask it anyway. Have you felt that as a migrant woman here, an African woman, setting up a business in Australia, going into this venture, that there've been challenges that have been impacted simply because you are originally from a different place?
I wouldn't say that there's been challenges for myself personally setting up this business because I've been, you know, from another country. However, I have experienced a handful of moments when I was teaching that, because I was from a different background, I was from a different country, and even though I spoke the same language in the same accent, there was a lot of times where I was judged for being from a different culture, and you know, to a point where I just decided to leave teaching because it was just not working out for me. And that's where I decided, you know what, because of my skin color, I'm basically going to do my own thing and show that black is the new white and it's beautiful. So that's one of the reasons why I've also made sure that the ingredient is an awesome black color, and it's something that, you know, it whitens people's teeth and makes them beautiful. Because from a teacher background, having taught at, you know, Australian schools here, it is actually an eye-opener that because you are a different race and a different colour, people do pick on you more, and is that discrimination. So that's where, you know, you just have to be resilient, and at the end of the day, you know, the cornerstone is the most important one, and that's what I've basically done, is I've, you know, basically let go of whatever happened, and I'm at the point where I've just launched this and it's going amazing. So it's all about being resilient, and don't let other people's opinions and, you know, hurtful comments affect you. So yeah.
And I think one of the critical things about having people like yourself as leaders is then African girls can look at you and say, oh, Urissa did that, you know, she looks like me. I can most definitely do that. So you've obviously developed a lot of resilience being in this environment. Do you get homesick much? Like, I know you left at 5, but do you ever have this nostalgic feeling about Africa?
I have the nostalgic feeling about Africa every time I watch a National Geographic and I see the lions and the giraffes and the zebras. I absolutely miss home. All our family back home, and you know, the culture is different here in Australia. No one really has their own culture here. It's all just about living a free lifestyle. It's all multicultural. But in South Africa, it's just you feel a place of belonging, and that's why, you know, today I'm so thrilled to be on here to be able to talk to you, and obviously let everyone know that regardless, you know, whether you're from South Africa and your skin color, we all look the same, and you can all do amazing things as long as you put your mindset to it and you're resilient. You can basically achieve it. You just got to give it time.
It's interesting that even though you left Africa at 5, you still refer to Africa as home. For me, I left at 21, so it is most definitely home to me. Do you feel that sense that Africa is your home, even having left?
I do still feel that sense because our family's back home. We always went home during Christmas times and holidays to go see family, and that was the most important thing, was the fact that in Australia, we came here, we had no one. So we built our family based on, each other. But going back home, there's just so many roots and so many connections. And the fact of the matter is, when you see a lion or a giraffe or any native South African animals, or even visiting the South African stores here in Australia to go get groceries, it's just that you feel like it's home and that you really do miss it. So that's why I can't wait to broaden our horizons overseas and to help the South African community.
Yeah, no, I certainly miss home in the sense that even though I've been gone for such a long time, I've almost been gone for as many years as I was living in Zimbabwe. I've almost been living overseas for the same amount of years. But there's something about when I get home, I don't have to explain myself. I'll say a joke and people will immediately get it, and you don't have to be like, oh, okay, I need to give you context.
Yes. So here in Australia, we all have our lingo. And when we first came to this country, I remember making friends and they were like, oh, what are you doing this arvo? And I was like, what am I doing with an avocado? What are you talking about? And then they had to tell me that arvo means afternoon. And I was like, oh, that's a bit weird. And then I still remember being in school and someone was going, oh, it's Urissa, it's spitting outside. And I'm like, who's spitting? Like, that's gross. And they're like, no, it's drizzling. That's what it means. It's actually raining like lightly outside. And I just went, you guys are idiots. Like, seriously, use the proper English language. So, when we hang around South Africans and we say, would you like to have a braai? That all means, let's have a barbecue. But say braai to Aussies, they just have no clue what you're talking about.
And Aussies don't understand the sausages. Like, I say to them, have you tried Boerewors sausages? Like, even the beef sausages at home, like the meat. That was the hardest thing for me when I first moved overseas, was just the meat and getting used to the texture and the lack of flavor in some of the meat. Like, we don't really have to do much but put salt and pepper in the meat and it's fine, you can put curries and other things, but here you've got to pack a lot of flavor to get the same sort of outcome. And then when I started inviting people over for a braai at barbecue and serving Boerewors sausages, it was interesting. Then my friends would come over and say, we want those sausages. And biltong, and beef jerky are not the same thing. I keep telling people.
Oh, yes. And they don't have the lovely spiced biltong or, the bubblegum milkshake, which is my absolute favorite, or chocos. Trust me, as soon as we get home to South Africa, that's all we do is we go to Spar and we literally order as much food as possible.
As much food as possible. So just back to your business and the products that you have. So you've told us a lot about the business. Can you tell us specifically about the actual product? Now, you've talked that it's a black powder. Can you tell us a bit about the actual products? What would I get? If I got one of your kits, what's coming in it? What would I get?
So if you purchased one of our kits, we sell them for $64.95 online on our website, which is www.lovesmilesteeth.com. And when you do purchase a kit, it's actually made for 2 people. So you're getting a kit that's worth $64.95 for 2 people that generally lasts about 6 months. And in that kit, there's a Mosso bamboo container, which has activated carbon charcoal powder. And that's not charcoal that you use on the barbecue. It's actually charcoal made from coconut shell. So the coconut shells, we basically have figured out a way where we manufacture and have developed a powder that is 100% all natural. There's no added chemicals. There's no toxins. There's no preservatives. There's no flavors. It's 100% all natural. And that's in our tub. And then alongside in our kit is also our Mosso bamboo infused charcoal bristle toothbrushes, which act as an awesome way to literally whiten your teeth with the powder. So the powder and toothbrush work together in order to lift and remove any dental plaque from the surface of your teeth, not damaging your enamel, and therefore whitening the actual surface of your teeth. So that's how our kit works. And you basically use it at nighttime. You can use it 2 to 3 times a week during the week. So 2 to 3 times during the week at night. before bed. And yeah, that's how you get whiter teeth. So I'm basically a living model of my product.
You're a living model. Well, you've got a brilliant smile, so we definitely can see that. Definitely can see that. So now, I guess one of the things people have always wanted to know when they are in business, and we've talked a bit about, having the right mindset, having the right team in place, having the right leadership in place, having a bit of discipline, and taking care of yourself. You've mentioned the fact that you do a lot of self-care, you go to the gym, and all of that. You basically do take care of yourself, and you listen, and you talk to people, to other people. What has been sort of, I guess, in the short period of time that you have been in business, what I guess would be what you say is the one thing that you have learned either from somebody or about yourself, that you can say has put you in very good stead to being kind of where you are right now?
So the one thing that I've really learned is to really listen to what people have to say. Try not to talk too much because I'm a bit of a talker. So the one thing I really have learned is to listen and to really take on board advice from different people within the team. So for example, with regards to marketing, actually asking our consumers, asking people who interact with our brand how we can make it better, and trying to figure out a way how we can do that. But not only, so much with the brand, it's more the environmental conservation, which we're doing. And that's just having meetings with people who are running organizations and trying to actually help the environment and figuring out how you can incorporate them into your business, because business change, plans change, and you've got to be really adaptable. You also have to be innovative and figure out ways on how you can literally target your consumers, how you can literally give back to the environment as well. And that's where I want my company to not be measured by the amount of money we just make, but also by the amount of ways that we can be positive and impact the environment in a better way for the future generation. So that's the plan, and that's basically what we're all about, is helping the environment and just giving that option out there for our consumers to know we are there if you want a natural product, but at the end of the day, everyone chooses what they like. So we just be out there and let them know that, hey, we're trying to help the environment, and we're also trying to get you a wider and brighter smile safely. So yeah.
Sounds amazing. Well, Urissa, before I ask my final question, can you tell people again your website, where people can find you, your social media pages, and where people can purchase this lovely kit? Is it in stores? Do we only get it online? Where can people get your product?
At the moment, you can just get it online. We are facilitating connections with dentists that are going to be stocking it. But if you go online, our website is www.lovesmilesteeth.com, and our social media accounts are all Love Smiles Teeth. So if you jump online, you'll see us on there on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. If you just type in Love Smiles Teeth, you'll see us online. Okay.
And my final question. You are now 25, 26 years old? 25. So looking back, just close your eyes for a minute, think of your 16-year-old self. Knowing what you know now about where you're at, the journey that you've taken, what would you say to your 16-year-old self?
If I had to say something to my 16-year-old self, it would be, don't listen to anyone who's negative. Just be persistent and make sure that you take on board everything and anything you can possibly learn and use to actually make the world a better place. And to just really, it's okay to know that you don't know what you want to do. But as soon as you figure that out, just make sure that you give it your best and give it time, because at the end of the day, things don't work overnight. It's all about being persistent and working really, really hard.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Urissa, for taking time this wonderful morning to have a chat to us and tell us about your amazing product, Love Smiles. We're looking forward to having whiter teeth. I, for one, can say that I've used the product, and the product is amazing. My son calls it the black stuff. So it's safe to keep on children as well. He's 13 years old. He absolutely loves it. The first day he was a bit like, Mummy, this stuff is black. And you said it's supposed to whiten my teeth. And I'm like, yeah, let's just do it. But it's black. Let's just do it. Now at nighttime, it's, oh, Mummy, let's use that black stuff.
Awesome.
So I can say, I can say my son absolutely loves it. I love it. It's a great product, and what you're doing and the message that you have and your heart and your energy, we wish you nothing but the best. You're doing an amazing job. You're definitely a world changer. You're positioning yourself for us to have a debate about healthy teeth, but to have it in the context of being a responsible consumer and being, and being conscious of our role in the overall environmental protection, and how a small change like, the product that we purchase every day, because everybody uses a toothbrush every single day, the product that we purchase can have a resounding impact on the place that we call home, which is Mother Earth. So thank you so much, Urissa, for your time, for that interview. To our viewers, next time we will have another wonderful guest on our show who will give us a bit more insight to them. Today, we'd like to say thank you to the lovely Urissa for her time from the Gold Coast. And thank you, and good afternoon to everybody.
Thank you so much, Christine. Thank you. Bye.